welcome to this week on
The Guinness Guys.
This week, what we are doing is the granddaddy of them all. So the guest beer this week
is Aunt Betty's British Bitter.
This is a home-brewed beer. Now we made this using Cooper's English Bitter kit. The reason we're using this one is there's not a lot of English bitter around, and the one or two that are around we didn't pick them up, and we had some homebrew, so we thought we'd use that instead. This doesn't really have a name on it, but I'll start pouring anyway.
Well, seeing as it's called Aunt Betty's British Bitter, I was thinking we could just call it Black Betty this week.
We could do. We're also thinking if you were to use a bishop's finger, even though it's not a bitter, you could call it the Black Bishop or
Desmond Tutu.
the Archbishop Desmond Tutu. Yeah, we're good there. Anyway, so guest beer as usual first. This is the Aunt Betty's British Bitter. So we're going to make the Black Betty. Now, as I pour the Guinness, I'll just tell you a little more. As we start pouring here, I can just tell you a little more. Jesus, that's energetic. A little more about this. This beer goes back, or the term Black and Tan goes back to 1889, where it was featured in the Oxford English Dictionary, or I think it was a slang Oxford English Dictionary. But it goes back to 1889. The term Black and Tan first originated, and it seems that at the time the predominant beers were Porter and Guinness and stuff like that, and also British Bitter. So this was apparently invented in the UK. Oh, sorry, the percentages here. The Guinness is 4.2%.
And the British Bitter is 4.3%.
Yeah, so this looks pretty good. Definitely have a little layering. There's going to be a lot of settling here, as usual. I'll just try to cram a little more of this in here. Yeah, this really is kind of the granddaddy of them all. It may very well have been what coined the term. So I'm looking forward to this one for a while.
Would this be the first one?
The first Black and Tan, it's possible. I was looking into a little of the history, and it seems that people have been mixing beer together like this since the 1700s. So it was the first one that was kind of codified. It was the first one that was kind of referenced in the Oxford English Dictionary. So it kind of is the granddaddy of them all. You could use, we were just thinking other bitters you could use if you're in Ireland. You could use Spitfire, which is made by Shepherd's Neame. You can pick that up in most Lidl's or other places, so you could probably pick it up there. You could get a Southwold bitter, that I've seen that around more and more, or you could use a John Smith original, we were thinking. But you should be able to get an English bitter handy enough. We'll get a little cleaned up here and then we'll be back to taste.
The Black Betty.
Okay, welcome back. So, move on to the visual inspection. First off, it's hard to see.
I think there's some layering in yours.
There is definite layering, yeah. There's about maybe 3 to 4 fingers of the lighter bitter at the bottom, and then there's definitely Guinness sitting on top. But other than up close, it's not much to look at.
Yeah.
You really would have to pour yourself. The bitter we made is quite light in color, but it's still, you know, brown beer. But it looks very nice. It's a lighter red towards the bottom and then a darker red towards the top. The heads are great. Lovely Guinnessy heads.
And now onto the smell test. That is a nice kind of coffee and licorice smell there.
I don't really find a coffee and licorice. I'm getting the bitter hop, or the hops from the bitter rather. The bitter is a fairly hoppy beer.
Yeah.
But since it's just such a big, you know, pillowy Guinness head, it doesn't really let much of the smell out. I mean, some of the heads we've done have been pretty bad, but this one looks almost like exactly like a Guinness head. So I think the Guinness is sitting on top of this pretty effectively. I think we'll just have to move on to the taste.
Yeah.
So, for our Christmas episode, let's taste
The Black Betty. Very nice.
That's interesting.
A bit watery though.
I think the Guinness is very apparent. Right away I got a lot of Guinness taste there. Not getting much from the bitter. A lot of it's just Guinness. So they're sitting on top of each other, so kind of expected that they wouldn't mix very well. There's the bitter. There's that nice hop. It's interesting because you get the baseline roasty bitterness from the Guinness, and then you get another different kind of bitterness.
Yeah. I was going to say there was a big coffee taste there when I was drinking it.
It does taste a lot like just a pint of Guinness.
It does seem richer than Guinness.
It does. It seems very rich.
As rich as Guinness goes.
As rich as Guinness is, yeah, this is somehow slightly richer. But I think it's very Christmassy, something that's rich.
It is quite an interesting taste.
It is interesting. Speaking of taste, I think I'll score. I'm not instantly overwhelmed with this. It's nice and it's very kind of deep and rich, but it's not. No flavors really pop out here. I would expect because this bitter is pretty hoppy, and it does taste like a bitter, and it is very nice. But a lot of that seems to be pretty muted. Now it may improve as I go down in the pint, but I think for now, just for taste, I'm going to give it a 3.
Yeah.
I think a 3 is about fair.
Well, for the taste, I find this pretty good. I mean, in having bitters myself, I've never had that much exposure to bitters, but I'd say this is quite good, and I didn't really know what to expect with this. So, for the taste, I'm going to give it a 3.
I think it's a fair score. It's pretty kind of average. It's interesting, the taste, but it's not crazy good. It's okay. But, anyway, so we'll move on to the combo. So what do you think of the combo?
Well, the combo's pretty good. Like I said, it's very deep, it's very rich. It's very kind of heavy as well for a pint.
It is, yeah, it's pretty heavy. It has retained a lot of the Guinnessiness, which is quite nice because a lot of these we've had, the Guinness has been kind of laid by the wayside, and to have one that's very Guinnessy is quite nice.
Well, this has worked out pretty okay. But I think it's very deep and sort of heavy and charismatic and stuff. But I think just for the combo, I'm just going to give it a 2 out of 5.
I think that's fair. I mean, this isn't bad. This might be better with something that's a little hoppier. I mean, we could do with something a little hoppier. I think a Spitfire would probably be better for this.
Yeah.
Or even maybe a Bishop's Finger. Even though it's not a bitter, it's a cask conditioned ale, it still would be good with this. But for the combination of Guinness and a bitter, it's not really overwhelming. I think it's not. Well, no, it is. It's a little bland, so I still enjoy it, but it doesn't have a lot of features that I can grade it on. You know, it doesn't lose a lot of points, but it doesn't really win a lot of points either.
Yeah.
So I think a rather solid 3 there will have to be about it.
So what do we think for compared?
Well, let me see here. We've done a lot now. We did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the 9th one that we've done so far. So we're getting a pretty wide range of stuff here. We've done the Eclipse with the wheat beer, and we've done the Blacksmith and the Black and Trash, and the one with the champagne, the Black Velvet, and all. We've done a lot of stuff, and compared to the others, it doesn't really knock anything out of the park here. I don't want to hate it because we made this beer, and this beer is very good on its own. But
unfortunately, this is a very so-so pint.
Yeah, that's the main problem we're having here, is that it's good, but it's not great. I think this is the main problem we're having here. But for compared, I don't want to be too mean to it because I do like it. There are some ones that I hated. So compared to those, it's good, you know. Compared to the D4 Special, it's excellent. But I think it's just going to have to be 3s across the board for me. It's tasty, but it's really nothing to write home about.
Yeah. Well, because we made this bitter ourselves, I was hoping it to be really good, but try not to be too biased, you know.
Mm.
It hasn't really won me over. I mean, to be fair, it's not as bad as the D4 Special.
No.
The D4 Special was bland.
Mm.
Now this is okay, but you know, sometimes being okay is not good enough. You would want something more.
Yeah.
Or if you just wanted a simple Guinness cocktail, you could probably go for this.
Yeah, this would actually be pretty good. Yeah, if you like bitter and you want a rich one, this is actually one of the few that's been rich.
Yeah.
Because the other ones, actually the poor man's Black Velvet was pretty rich, but ones like the Blacksmith and the Black and Trash, they felt a little watered down and a little weakened, and the Guinness wasn't there. The Guinness is all here for this one, which is good, but to the detriment maybe of the bitter. Well, so score it anyway.
Well, for the compared anyway, I'm just going to give it a 2. So.
Okay, well, I'm going to add up the scores, and we'll be back to you in a second. So, this week I have scored it 9 out of 15.
And this week I've scored a 7 out of 15.
So, about the middle of the field there, really. I mean, the lowest scores we've given are 6, which is pretty low. And the highest scores we've given are like 13 and 12, so it's pretty much exactly in the middle of the field, you know. It's not overwhelmingly good, but one thing I would say about it is there's nothing bad about it.
Yeah.
A lot of these had their downsides. This doesn't seem to have a downside, which is nice. It's rich and it's very Christmassy.
Yeah, very festive.
It is. So.
Well, I would say, you know, if you wanted to try a very kind of simple Guinness cocktail, you didn't want to delve into anything too overpowering, or you just wanted to go for something simple, I would just say go for this.
Yeah.
And if you're a bitter fan, I would say just give this a go as well.
Yeah, you should give this a go if you're a bitter fan. Either way. We'll see you after New Year's, so Merry Christmas from
The Guinness guys.